let's go and get into our top 25 list. We're going to start with you, Tim, and go and put up Tim's top 25. We can find it here. There it is. Tim, go and tell us what you got here.
All right, I think this is pretty straightforward. Of course, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, all three undefeated. Again, I'm not going to change anything. Yes, Indiana does have a slightly better strength of schedule, as we discussed earlier. But again, it's, they nearly fell to Penn State last week. So great Heisman moment for Mendoza, but otherwise, they're still undefeated. Then I got Bama, Ole Miss, Oregon, Georgia, 8-1, 9-1 for Ole Miss. Texas Tech coming off a massive win versus BYU last week to solidify, which top 10 team was better. And I guess the Mormons couldn't play, fit up to that level right there. But then you got Notre Dame and Vanderbilt to round out my top 10. Moving on to 11, I got Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, Texas. Now, this was interesting because we had OU, Georgia Tech, Texas, Michigan, Utah, all on byes last week. And a lot of the top 25 that I had near the end of it all lost, or at least most of them lost. So it was a very interesting week, but I moved all the teams up that I could: OU, Georgia Tech, Texas, Michigan, USC. And USC had a big-time win versus Northwestern, absolutely crushing them at home, 38-17 last Friday. And then I got Miami, then BYU falling, from 8-17. Utah, Tennessee, also coming off a bye, and Missouri having a tough loss last week to A&M, 38-17. Then at 21 through 25, these are the teams that I really don't expect much from, but I still think some of them are good enough. In other words, Virginia, Iowa. I even though Iowa did lose last week, they put up one hell of a fight against Oregon. So I really like that out of them, and I feel like they could beat a lot of other teams. And then Louisville obviously lost to Clemson last night in a heartbreaker. Then you got Houston and SMU. And if you're asking me why is USF not on there, simple, fake team. So
that's fair. I mean, listen, it's fair, and I think it's a tradition unlike any other. Is the upset ACC loss on a Friday night right before our show after we've already submitted our top 25. Yep. It makes us look like geniuses.
This is why we shouldn't put any ACC team in our top 25, right?
None at all. I mean, Georgia Tech, to be fair.
Georgia Tech. Yeah.
We'll see what they do against Georgia in a couple weeks. That'll be kind of their.
Isn't that why they lost? Didn't they lose on a Friday?
I
don't.
No, what?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, for sure. I think they lost NC State. Yeah. But no, we'll see how it plays out for them. I do respect your consistency on this USF thing. Like it's, their signature win is, no offense, Florida.
Yeah, and Florida lost that game more than friggin' USF beat us.
Napier botched the clock in a major way.
He botched everything about that game, not just the clock. I mean, that was absolutely atrocious. And listen, I'm a big DJ Lagway guy, but good God, where was the DJ Lagway that won the last 4 games of the season last year?
Where's he been all season long is the question. Yeah, forget that game.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying the last 4 games, he looked like the next guy. So I'm saying that, USF, not a good team. And what, you want to hang your hat on Boise State and us? Please.
That's fair. I respect you not putting in the top 25. Arthur's going to put up your list. Let's see what we got here. How do you feel about this, Arthur?
Top 3, easy. Ohio State, IU, Texas A&M. Dude, I was watching that IU game, and I'm not going to lie. I thought they were dead. I'm like, 0 timeouts. They ain't got a lot of time left. And Fernando Mendoza looked like an NFL quarterback out there, dog. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, dang, it don't matter what your state coach is. They're going to lose. That was my thought. I'm like, my goodness, I'm like, how do y'all let this IU team, and you could see Kirk Cignetti somebody need to check his draws after that game, because I know there were some brown stains in his pants. I was like, dude, how in the world do you literally have them knocked down, 0 timeouts, and then you let Mendoza just go on that absolute legacy. Heisman, when we talk about Heisman and him potentially winning it, it's going to be because of that drive. How do you let him do that to you? Beautiful football by IU and Mendoza to close out that game against Penn State this past week. Alabama and Georgia. Uh, I mean, there's nothing to say. They've improved throughout the season. Again, ups and downs. It's like, okay, are they, is this the same team? Right? It's not really the same, but they're getting it done. And sometimes you got to get it done ugly. And they haven't been the pretty girl so far. They've been the pretty girl. They just look like the pretty girl who's past her prime. Let's say that. Ole Miss and Texas Tech. Texas Tech, what a big win against BYU. And I said it last week. I didn't know who to pick in that one. Right. That was the one where it was like, dang, y'all right next to each other in rankings. Both of y'all really good football teams, but it ended up being by BYU coming out with the loss. Oregon is the other one. It's like, okay, what's going on? You guys look vulnerable after a very dominant season last year, your inaugural season in the Big Ten and running through everybody. You guys have looked very, very vulnerable. What's going on? They've still taken, care of business and being able to stay in the top 10. They're going to be in the college football playoff. Everything swings their way continuously. Notre Dame and Texas, it's the same thing. They've had rocky moments throughout the season. Marcus Freeman and his squad, it's like, oh, okay, what's going on, especially being in the college football championship last year. Y'all should not be starting off this way. Should not be looking this vulnerable. Arch Manning with Texas, the injury bug has really plagued him in his season. But whenever he's been able to come back, he's been playing well. I can't knock the Texas Longhorns from that, nor Notre Dame. So I have Notre Dame, Fighting Irish, and the Texas Longhorns to round out my top 10. Now, Mr. John Mateer. Again, this goes back to you, dog. Y'all could have been in my top 10, but I'm not putting y'all there because y'all ain't beat Texas. All right. Like, that's my biggest thing. I would easily put OU over Texas if they won, just a couple 3 weeks ago, but they didn't. So that's why I have them at number 11. They're still playing very well, though. We're going to continue to see how they progress throughout the season. And John Mateer, he's a very good quarterback, but when it comes down to the end of the season, I want to see how they're able to finish. BYU, tough loss last week versus Texas Tech. Yeah, more than a tough y'all got your doors knocked off. And I didn't expect that. I thought there was going to be some fight there. And it looked like that Texas Tech was able to just bully them. And BYU wasn't able to get anything that they wanted to get. I got Utah and I got Vanderbilt. I'm still a Diego Pavia believer. I know Bryson doesn't like that, but oh well, it is what it is. I just love how Diego Pavia's team is ranked higher than Joey Aguilar's team, but that's neither here nor there. I got Miami at 15. Carson Beck and the Canes look dead. They don't look like much of a hurricane right now. They look like the small little baby tsunami that looks like it wants to form, but they don't know how to. They don't know if they want to. Why? Because it's Miami. I got a bunch of things to worry about other than football, apparently. I got USC and Georgia Tech. USC in their, second season coming over into the Big Ten, looking like a really nice addition. I still don't like the fact that they're over here. I'm not going to lie, because again, divisions have been an amazing thing of the Big Ten, and I get to see matches that I really want to see. And because USC wants to bring their behinds over here, I don't get to see those matchups, but it is what it is. It's okay. Again, I got Georgia Tech at 17. I got Michigan at 18, who I cannot wait to see at the end of the season. The battle of the young quarterbacks with Bryce Underwood and Julian Sayin is going to be a nice little. This is already one of the greatest rivalries in college football. I'm going to say it's the greatest. I've been told, it's the Red River Run between Texas and OU. I've said, I've heard it's, between Alabama and Auburn. But man, listen, I'm an Ohio State fan, so I'm always ride with Ohio State and Michigan. And I can't wait to see these two young quarterbacks battle it until they leave for the NFL. Louisville, y'all pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. I'm very disappointed in y'all. I really wanted to remove y'all from my top 25, but I already submitted my ballot, so I couldn't. But yeah, y'all irked me last night. And then I had the Virginia Cavaliers to round up my top 20. And then this bottom 5, man, Pitt, y'all, if Pitt can do a little something today against Oregon, that's going to, I want to see how they do. I want to see how Pitt is able to do. And then we got Iowa, Tennessee, again, Joey Aguilar and your Tennessee Vols, Bryson. I love it, man. We got 14 days. I can't wait till I can't wait till November 29th, man, between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. That's going to be a game to watch. USF, look, I get Tim calling them a fake team. I get their biggest win being against Florida, but it's the same thing with Ohio State. It was the same thing with Oregon last year. It's the same thing with Alabama all the years that they were very dominant. Your strength of schedule, I can't knock, man. You take care of business of the people that's on your schedule. If it's easy, okay, cool, whatever. If it's hard, that's my thing. We look at you crazy if you have an easy schedule and you dominate, but then we also look at you crazy if you have a hard schedule and wondering why the heck you lose. I don't understand that. Like,
well, what
do we expect?
Yeah.
So, and then the Cincinnati Bearcats to ride out my top 25.
That's fair, and I will say, since you brought it up and not me, 14 more days, guys, 14 more days, and we get to
Can we? What time is that game?
They haven't announced it yet. I think they'll probably announce it next week. If I had to guess, I would say probably 3:30. That feels like an afternoon game in Knoxville. We'll see. But yeah, Diego Pavia, after all that trash he talked about the balls in the offseason, and that young man's gonna get humbled. Okay. Anchor down. Is that what you're saying, Tim? Anchor down. Anchor down. Okay. I mean, let's worry about barely getting by Auburn in overtime before we worry about Tennessee. I'm just gonna say that. That was
what's the record again?
It's not going to be 10-2 when the season's over. I'll tell you what that
again.
What's our record?
Yeah.
It's 6-3, about to be 7-3 after New Mexico State.
What's Vanderbilt's record?
Okay, what's BYU's record? We can play this game as much as we want. I mean,
you want to talk so much smack, and I'm just saying, we're gonna be.
I'm just responding to Diego Pavia,
big guy.
I am responding to Diego Pavia after all that. We're the team in Tennessee. Like, bro, come on, man. Get a win in Neyland Stadium. Then you're the team in Tennessee, okay? So let's go and put up my top 25 list up here. Listen, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama. I'm in complete agreement with the committee. I did have Alabama over A&M, I will say, the last few weeks. But Texas A&M, here's, again, Ohio State and Indiana, self-explanatory. Quickly, I want to put all three, not all three guys back on the screen, but I think the catch by Omar Cooper Jr. last week is, can we agree that's the play of the year in college football, fellas, just before I continue?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was a hell of a play.
Game winning down. It was right there on the dot. And that's also the funny thing about playing like DB corners and stuff like that. Because when they showed the replay, because I was like, dang, he got fairly open in the back of the end zone. And when you look at his defender, right, eyes on the quarterback. And I'm like, man, that's why it's like, dang, man, I be wondering what y'all teach, because sometimes you just got to be aware of the situation. They have to score. So it's like, I get the quarterback is your main, but you've got a man right here who you have to defend. And with the way Mendoza was able to just get them downfield, you need to make sure your man is not. Yep. And man, Omar Cooper was able to just slip right in behind. Oh, that was beautiful. That was pretty.
By a toenail.
It was unbelievable. But what a horrendous call by Gus Johnson on that play.
How dare you?
Are you kidding me?
Gus Johnson. How dare you?
Gus Johnson couldn't speak. His job is to speak, and he lost his voice. He blew that up. I mean, listen, all respect in the world to Gus Johnson. He's, been doing this for a very long time. But, I mean, for the love of all that is holy, that was atrocious. Atrocious.
Tim wants us to call like it's hole one at the Masters.
You can be excited like I am right now and keep it in your chest. You don't have to.
That's his brand, though. That's his brand, though, Tim.
No, it's a bull brand. I almost swore. That's ridiculous. If that is your brand, then you shouldn't be doing this at all. That is BS. Do this. Come on here. Go on Twitter. Go on Twitch. And that's where you make those calls. That's where you do this, because he sounded like a freaking amateur who's never done this before and thinks excitement is absolutely going over the top. And then when you watch that entire drive, every single play was over the top. Everything was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And that play just solidified it. It was a joke.
I'm that close to muting you, Tim. How dare you disrespect
me? I dare you. I dare you. Horrendous call by Gus Johnson. absolutely ruined a phenomenal catch and a phenomenal moment for Indiana.
Get back to my top 25 rankings after all this nonsense that Tim Barnard has spewed on the Saturday morning. No, but listen, Indiana's number 2. And A&M, I put them at the 3rd over Alabama after I've had Bama 3 the last few weeks because Bama's offense was left a lot to be desired against LSU last week, but also Texas A&M, folks. They've beaten 3 ranked teams. All of those ranked wins have come on the road. And by the way, they got to play Texas on the road on Black Friday. That's going to be one of the premier matchups, of rivalry week in a couple of weeks. Oregon at number 5, very impressed with a big-time win on the road last week against Iowa. I knocked Georgia down just a peg because the fact of the matter is, and this just may be reflected in my prediction later in the show, I'm not seeing the old Georgia that we've seen. They survive Auburn in a game that probably should have been 17-0. They beat Mississippi State to their credit, but there was some weird stuff going on in that game, and the defense didn't play well against Ole Miss. I'm not seeing the same Georgia that I've seen in years past. But we got Ole Miss in that number 7 spot. Again, Tim may have a potential announcement later, with the Florida Gators. We'll see. But Texas Tech at number 8, big time win against BYU. Very, very impressive by the Red Raiders. Looks like they're on pace to potentially win the Big 12 and get into the playoff. Notre Dame at 9. Again, just the hate that this program is getting. Listen, they lost 2 games against 2 good teams by the skin of their teeth. They've run the table from there. Okay, they beat USC. They very well could beat Pitt today. We'll see what happens with the Irish. But they're defending national champion runner-ups. Give them respect where it's due. Texas at number 10. Again, this is a team we talk about. If Steve Sarkisian is posing the question, could we get in or should we get in? As a 3-loss team, it tells you at Texas, they've been able to right the ship as of late. Arch Manning has played much better, has developed very, very well over the course of the season. So Texas rounds out my top 10. Oklahoma at number 11, kind of to Arthur's point, John Mateer, man, they really messed up that mojo that they had going on with him playing in that Red River game against Texas. But still, Oklahoma going on the road to Tennessee. I was at that game. It was very, very hard to watch a couple of weeks ago. But for them to go on the road, play as well as they did, obviously, and do so with John Mateer only throw for 150 yards. It's a credit to their defense, which is one of the top defenses in college football. It's a credit to their running game. They run the football very effectively, well-coached team. BYU falls number 12. Again, it's still all out ahead of the Cougars. They still can win the Big 12. They can still win out and get in the playoff, but a tough loss against Texas Tech last week. I like Michigan a lot. I really do. I like what they bring on both sides of the ball up front. Bryce Underwood's continue that development, and they'll get the biggest test ever against Ohio State in the game, as they call it, at a couple of weeks in the Big House. USC.
Hang on, my fault. Sorry for interrupting. 13?
I think they're that good. I think they're a very, very talented team, Arthur. I really do.
All right.
I'm saying, we'll see what happens in the big game. Y'all talking smack about Vanderbilt beating Tennessee. Let's Ohio State get a win against Michigan and Sharon Moore at some point, okay? But USC at number 14. Listen, Lincoln Riley's caught a lot of flack over the years, understandably so. But the fact of the matter is, Big Ten, they've handled it well. They've only got 2 losses. They're another team that can control their own destiny to get to the college football playoff. Georgia Tech at 15. The tough loss recently to NC State. I still really like Haynes King. I still think they're well coached. And again, we talk about tests in a couple of weeks. They're going to get their tests in a couple of weeks at home, mind you, in Atlanta against the Georgia Bulldogs. That game's also going to be Black Friday. That should be fun. Vanderbilt number 16. They barely survived Auburn. Louisville number 17. Again, it's just a shame that these ACC games with ranked teams happen, 12 hours before we go on the air. But Louisville losing last night, I'm very, very disappointed in the Cardinals, and their chances to win the ACC have pretty much been extinguished. Utah, number 18, great team on some Saturdays, and then kind of leave you scratch your head on others, but very talented. The Utes have done a good job this year. I think Miami's completely overrated, and I said it before the season, in large part because Carson Beck is overrated. Lane Kiffin said it best. They gave this guy $4.3 million. Did they see him against us? As he said in the Pivot podcast earlier this year, and he was absolutely correct in that. Vols at number 20. Again, I'm almost ashamed that Tim had Tennessee ranked higher than I did. I don't know if that's SEC bias. I don't know what that is. But my Vols, listen, we really don't have a signature win this year. We're not necessarily going to get it today against New Mexico State, which I'll talk about in the Vol View in just a second. But we'll have a chance in a couple of weeks, and I think we will put belt to behind against the Vanderbilt Commodores. But that is my top 20, and then we're surrounded at the top 25. Been saying it all year. Virginia, they've been living on the edge. They've been living dangerously. And finally, the chickens come home to roost. They lose last week. And then they got a big game against Duke, in which they're underdogs. Iowa at number 22. I was very, very impressed. I thought Iowa was going to pull the upset coming into the game against Oregon. Put up a heck of a fight at home in the rain. The Hawkeyes are playing good football this year. Pitt's got a big-time test today against Notre Dame at Acrisure Stadium. We'll see how they handle that. Notre Dame is a double-digit road favorite. USF, again, the respect of them. I get the fact that Florida, Boise State, not the best wins on the resume, but they have been the best non-Power 4 team this season. And Tulane, give them respect where it's due. They ended Memphis' season last week. I think Tulane's been playing good football this year, only a couple of losses. So that is my top 25